This chilling documentary investigates the horrific Schenecker double homicide that rocked Tampa, Florida on January 28, 2011. A seemingly devoted mother, Julie Powers Schenecker, executed her two children, 16-year-old Calyx and 13-year-old Beau. The ghastly scene unfolded in the family's home in Tampa Palms, an upscale gated community. On that fateful January morning, police arrived after Julie's worried mother in Texas had called for a welfare check. On the back porch, officers found 50-year-old Julie soaked in blood, slipping in and out of consciousness. Inside, far worse horror awaited. In Calyx's second-floor bedroom, the vibrant teen was slumped lifeless over her computer desk, blood pooling around her. Shot execution-style in the back of the head and face, she was still in her pajamas, as if she'd been casually doing homework before the bullet struck. Downstairs in the garage, Beau sat in the passenger seat of the family SUV, seatbelt still buckled. He too had been shot twice point-blank in the head. Shockingly, the children's own mother quickly confessed to the executions. With chilling detachment, Julie detailed shooting each child the previous afternoon. That morning, Beau had no reason to fear as his mother drove him to soccer practice. But halfway there, she executed the 13-year-old with 2 bullets to the temple. Leaving her son's body strapped in the bloody SUV, Julie then returned home where an unsuspecting Calyx sat studying. The teen was shot first from behind, then directly in the face as she likely turned towards the gunfire. Police say the children did not see it coming and had no chance to run or fight back. Julie later told detectives she killed them simply because they were mouthy and disrespectful. She chillingly referred to the murders as her massacre.
Also tonight, we're getting a clearer picture of a horrific crime in the Bay Area that happened in January. Julie Schenecker is accused of shooting her 2 children, one inside their minivan, the other inside the family home. Our Serena Fazan joins us now with a look at some of the just-released evidence in this case. Good evening, Serena.
Good evening to you, Wendy. We have been looking through 594 pages of documents and pictures released by the state attorney's office. They paint a gruesome and heartbreaking scene. 2 children found shot and covered by blankets, and a mother barely able to stand. At first glance, the pictures show a normal home, a laundry basket, food on the counter, and even remnants of a happy holiday, and a loving mother, picture of her 2 kids when they were younger in her wallet. But then a closer look. This is what officers also saw when they got a call to Julie Schenecker's home. A receipt for a $600 gun and bullets, bottles of beer and wine, and several empty prescription pill bottles. According to responding officers, they saw Schenecker lying on her back porch in her pajamas and robe, covered in blood. She let them in and they knew something was horribly wrong. An officer wrote, "I could detect the strong, distinctive odor of an alcoholic beverage. She could hardly stand. She was mumbling incoherently." The officers asked to see the children. Schenecker didn't respond, so they searched the home. Upstairs, the officer described seeing 5 bullet casings and then blood drag marks from the computer to the bed. Calyx was lying underneath the blanket, he says. When he lifted it, her face was covered in blood. She was not breathing. Another officer found Beau in the family car, still seatbelted in. He wrote, "I observed a human leg sticking out from underneath the blanket." Officers say in their report they realized the blood on Schenecker was from her children. It's why they changed her into this suit before walking her out.
Want to tell us what happened, Julie?
One mystery remains, Julie Schenecker's description of how she allegedly killed the 2 children. Police say she left details scrawled on notes that she posted throughout the house. For now, prosecutors are keeping those details a secret. But we may soon see more evidence released in this case. There is a hearing on that set for Thursday.
Found inside the home were handwritten notes detailing her plot to kill the children and herself. In her writings, Julie expressed frustration at the 3-day wait to purchase her .38 caliber murder weapon, calling it an unfortunate delay to the massacre. Clearly, this was a meticulously premeditated crime, not a split-second rage killing. The patient planning and lack of remorse are hallmarks of the psychopathic mind. So what possibly could have driven this seemingly devoted mother to execute her 2 cherished children in cold blood? Delving deeper into Julie's past reveals a long and disturbing psychiatric history that raises many questions. Julie Powers grew up in small-town Iowa, a bright student who later earned a master's degree in linguistics. In the 1980s, she met her husband Powers Schenecker while stationed in Germany as a Russian linguist for the army. The couple married in 1987 and relocated frequently for Powers' military career. Parenting did not seem to come naturally to Julie. She once told a friend the kids were Powers' thing. But those around the Scheneckers noticed nothing amiss. To all appearances, life was an idyllic American dream. Powers earned promotions in military intelligence while Julie focused on raising Calyx and Beau. On the surface, the Scheneckers were pillars of the community, a patriotic family dedicated to service. However, Julie's mental health was unraveling behind the facade. Severe depression dominated her adult life, leading to extensive psychiatric treatment starting in the early 1990s. Problems escalated until Julie was institutionalized for 9 months in 2001. Loved ones hoped this would allow her to hit reset. Tragically, it did not. Flashing forward to 2010, records show Julie's struggle with substance abuse and psych meds escalating. A November car crash led officers to suspect she was impaired. Julie rear-ended another vehicle while mush-mouthed and glassy-eyed. Just days later, she slapped daughter Calyx during an argument, though no charges were filed. Husband Powers had grown so concerned about Julie's apparent addiction issues that she was prohibited from driving the kids. In an email to relatives, Powers confirmed Julie was in rehab and unable to care for the children. Yet due to his military duties, he frequently left the kids alone in Julie's care. Clearly, Julie was a troubled woman. But could anything have been done to prevent this unfathomable family tragedy? In hindsight, many red flags point to a psychiatric powder keg ready to explode. Julie faced severe mental illness, addiction issues, and limited family support. Still, no one could have predicted she was capable of murdering her beloved Calyx and Beau.
There are several new developments in the case of a new Tampa mom accused of killing her kids. We have now learned that Julie Schenecker was investigated in November for child abuse.
Meanwhile, there is sadness and shock at the teen schools.
At this time, I need to make an announcement about the tragic loss of Calyx Schenecker.
It is a tough start to the week for friends and classmates of Beau and Calyx Schenecker. Police found the teen shot and killed on Friday, and investigators say their own mother, Julie, pulled the trigger. Other developments tonight include what a judge said to Schenecker and the medical condition that caused her to be rushed to the hospital. Our live team coverage begins tonight with Don Germais. And Don, what about these reports that Schenecker was investigated in November for child abuse?
Indeed, Jameson, actually 2 investigations, one by the Tampa Police Department, one by the Department of Children and Families, both stemming from the same incident, and both cleared Julie Schenecker of any wrongdoing. This last investigation, DCF reported back just 10 days before the shooting that everything seemed okay in the home, and now this. Shackled hands and feet and led by 3 sheriff's deputies, Julie Schenecker appeared before a judge to face charges she murdered her 2 teenagers for being mouthy.
Due to the nature of your charges and the strength of the case against you at this point, miss, you will obviously going to be held in jail without bond.
Schenecker appeared to weep softly as the judge denied bail and said doctors may have to evaluate Schenecker. Schenecker is accused of shooting her 13-year-old son Beau and 16-year-old daughter Calyx because they were too mouthy. Police say it now appears there was some teenage mouthiness going on. In November, they investigated a charge of child abuse made against Julie Schenecker by her daughter Calyx, who claimed Julie slapped her in the face.
The mother had struck the daughter, and she had contacted police, but it turns out that she was just upset that she was being disciplined, but there really was not a crime that occurred.
Schenecker is undergoing medical observation tonight at the Falkenberg Road jail. Police say the uncontrollable shaking we saw when Schenecker was arrested was caused by an undisclosed medical condition and not something psychological. And outside the Ashington Reserve subdivision where the family lived, you can see a makeshift memorial continues to grow in honor of these 2 children who lost their lives in such a senseless fashion.
While mental illness may help explain Julie's actions, it does not excuse them. 2 bright, loving teens were robbed of their futures. The slaughter of innocents leaves an unforgivable scar on the soul of Tampa Bay. In the aftermath, many difficult questions remain. How can we improve mental health care and addiction treatment so people like Julie get help before it's too late? Should involuntary commitment standards be modified to make it easier to mandate treatment for those unable to care for themselves? And when someone is clearly decompensating, why do we often turn away instead of finding the courage to intervene? How many red flags and cries for help did Julie send up while the world looked the other way? Perhaps no one could have guessed Julie Schenecker was capable of murder. But we cannot ignore the many missed chances to get a very sick, suffering woman the help she so desperately needed.
Now to the pictures and a crime that shocked not only us as a community, but the world. A mother and the wife of a colonel of MacDill Air Force Base incoherent and on her way to jail. Julie Schenecker confessing to police she murdered her two children.
And now for the very first time, Julie Schenecker tries to explain why she did the unthinkable, sitting down with ABC Action News reporter Serena Fazan for an exclusive prison interview.
I started writing Julie Schenecker just 2 days after her arrest in 2011, writing her every month for the next 4 years. Because like so many of you, I wanted answers, not just as a journalist, but as a mother. When I finally met Julie Schenecker face to face, it was hard to comprehend that this woman in front of me murdered her own kids. At first, her head bowed, refusing to make eye contact. Crying through most of my initial questions about Calyx and Beau. Do you miss them? Her answers coming after long pauses, the memories appearing painful. Eventually, she opens up, the words, what you'd expect to hear from any mother.
I told them I loved them every day, you know that? Every single day, and they told me they loved me every single day.
So how could she commit such a horrible, violent crime in her own home? During the span of our 2-hour meeting inside the Lowell Correctional Facility, this former military intelligence officer tried shedding light on the unthinkable. Julie, when you woke up that morning, did you know that you wanted to kill your kids?
No, I was only going to kill me.
When did you decide to shoot your kids?
Right when it happened.
Her memories coming back through a haze of heavy drinking and drugs.
I took painkillers all the time.
For the first time, she tells me what she does remember, including killing her son first.
Oh my God.
They had just pulled into the garage, the 13-year-old still strapped in his seatbelt. Beau glanced at his mother just before she pulled the trigger.
He was putting on his shoes or something. I don't know.
The next bombshell, coming in a whisper, like a secret unknown until now.
He did see the gun.
And what did he say? What did he say? Did he say anything?
I think so. But I don't know for sure.
She remembers stalking her daughter Calyx next, shooting her 16-year-old in the head while she did homework. Did she see the gun?
No. No.
And finally, the truth about one of the murder's most haunting images. Why did you try to put a smile on Calyx's face?
She was smiling, and this side wasn't smiling. And this side was smiling. And so I made this side smile.
A scene that still haunts investigators years later. But Schenecker tells me she would do it again. Do you regret what happened that day? Do you regret killing your kids? You don't. Why not?
Because I saved them.
Beau, she claims, from sexual molestation.
I couldn't let this happen to him.
Who was sexually abusing him, though? Who?
The person knows, okay? And God knows. And that's all that matters.
And then for Calyx, what were you protecting her from then?
Rape and mental issues, because she told me she was bipolar.
When I tried to press for answers, Schenecker shut down, later confessing she did not want her daughter to suffer like she did.
And so I was raped as a virgin.
But police in her hometown found no record of a rape. Gary Sandell, the lead detective in the children's murders, called Schenecker's explanations excuses.
She claims that it was because she was trying to protect her kids.
No.
Sandell says just hours after police found Beau and Calyx's bodies, Schenecker offered detectives an excuse that stunned the world.
She caused the injuries that she did to them because of her malady. That's what her explanation was.
And Sandell says the murder plan is clearly outlined in a handwritten journal detectives found in the home. Schenecker claims she doesn't remember writing in the journal, and the first she heard of the motive was years later in trial.
That was absolutely not a motive to shoot my kids. They're mouthy, boom, no. Which car? I don't understand what happened that day. So I don't know how to make you understand what happened that day. That's the problem.
In all your years of experience, you would definitely say that she was a cold, calculated killer.
Yes. Yes.
And he thinks she is exactly where she needs to be, a maximum security prison for life. Schenecker wants something else.
Death. I wanted the death penalty.
And tomorrow, Julie Schenecker reveals to me the family secret they all worked so hard to protect, and how she says that secret ultimately drove her to kill. Set your alarm for more of this exclusive interview tomorrow morning, starting at 5 a.m. on ABC Action News. Then at 11 p.m., right after the Bruce Jenner interview. Serena Fazan, ABC Action News.
It would be unbelievable for people to think that I could be so sick.
Now to an ABC Action News exclusive. Part 2 tonight. Julie Schenecker breaking her silence, talking about the secrets she claims drove her to murder her children. The case setting off a wide array of emotions, outrage, disgust, and questions about why.
Yeah, why would a mother from an upscale Tampa family do the unthinkable? ABC Action News reporter Serena Fazan has been seeking the answers since this case broke.
Yeah, she joins us tonight with some answers Julie Schenecker finally provided in this exclusive interview. Serena?
That's right, Wendy and Jameson. You know, in every letter I wrote her going back just days after her arrest in 2011, I asked if she had a message, if anything could have prevented this unthinkable tragedy. Tonight, Julie Schenecker answers those questions, telling me what finally drove her to kill, also revealing the supernatural thing she says she saw the moment her children died.
They said, "You're such a good mom. You know that? All my life."
A good mother, an image Julie Schenecker still clings to, and the stunning reason for murdering her own children, Calyx and Beau. In her first interview since her arrest, she tells me she sees herself as a savior, not a killer.
That's the only thing I can think of doing to protect them.
Staring at the floor, the 54-year-old mom held fast to claims she saved Beau from a molester, though she offered no names or evidence. And she claims through murder she saved Calyx from rape and from mental illness. Two demons Schenecker says she experienced. She doesn't expect anyone to understand.
They'll never understand.
The mother says the moment she pulled the trigger, she knew her plan worked.
I saw them, their body, their little soul went right out of their body and went to heaven. They never died.
Police would find 13-year-old Beau still in his seatbelt in the family van, parked inside the garage. And inside the home, 16-year-old Calyx was in bed, her face wearing a smile put there by her mother.
She went like this. And then this yellow thing around her came up and went through the ceiling. And then I picked her up and put her in bed and covered her up. And I sat her up and I hugged her, and she didn't hug me back. And I laid her down and I kissed her goodnight and I covered her up. And then I realized I forgot to cover up Beau, and it was January, so I went and got a blanket and I covered him up and kissed him goodnight. And I didn't see any blood at all, at all. But 3.5 years later, I saw blood in the pictures.
And Schenecker also claims to have no memory of the handwritten journal that sealed her fate, the pages written in her own hand detailing a plan to kill her kids for mouthing off.
Now I know, 4 years later, how bad I was at that time.
It's why she finally agreed to break her silence.
The secret put me here.
That family secret, her lifelong struggles with mental illness. Schenecker says she and her husband, Colonel Parker Schenecker, covered it up, like this example she claims happened at a party.
I'm a civilian. I'm married to a colonel. And a major's wife says something. Boom. A headbutter. A major's wife. I'm a colonel's wife. I'm the commander's wife. And at a function, yeah. So I'm a little kooky.
But they lived in a beautiful home. She drove a fancy car, took care of the kids. On the outside, a picture-perfect family.
So I hid it. I did not want anyone to know, and it was our pride. And for him, it was probably embarrassment.
She says when it got really bad, she turned to her husband.
When I was sick, and we knew. He just said, my wife's sick. That's what we called it. If I was stuck in bed. I'd go weeks without showering.
But in 2011, the colonel wasn't home. He was overseas, protecting this country. And in her twisted logic, Julie Schenecker says she was protecting her children.
I've never been in that state of mind or that physical state.
And while she still thinks Calyx and Beau are in a better place, with surprising clarity, Schenecker also realizes
I've ruined way more lives than I would have ever ruined just being me, mentally ill.
In prison, she is medicated, housed in the general population. Her crime so reprehensible, Schenecker tells me, she is considered scum even by prison standards, her fellow inmates dubbing her baby killer.
It's okay, because Calyx and Beau love me.
It's why she behaves behind bars with one reward in mind.
I just want to be with them now.
So you do miss them?
Oh my God, yes. Just tell them that I'll be there soon. And I'll try to be as good as I can be so I can go to heaven.
Now, Julie Schenecker did this interview without consulting her attorneys. We also reached out to her ex-husband, Colonel Parker Schenecker. He says he stands by the conviction and is now focused on the foundation he created to honor his children. You've now seen both parts of my special interview, but soon you can watch it in its entirety, more than an hour long, in a special web presentation of Julie Schenecker inside her mind. I will be online to chat with you and answer questions while you watch it on abcactionnews.com and on our mobile apps. That's Monday night, starting at 6:30.
The system failed not only Julie but also the innocent lives she destroyed. We leave you with a call to action. Beau and Calyx deserve justice, but also so much more. Their senseless deaths must serve a purpose. Each of us has a role in creating a society where the mentally ill receive compassion, support, and treatment instead of stigma. A culture where no mother ever feels murder is the only answer. We close by asking you, what thoughts and emotions does this story bring up for you? What do you think needs to change in mental health care to prevent similar tragedies? What can you personally do to be part of the solution? Please share your insights in the comments. By starting the conversation, we take the first step toward healing so no more innocent lives are lost.